I'm here to talk with you guys about the controversy surrounding Chick-Fil-A and the debate on gay marriage. As you may or may not be aware, there's been a lot of arguing and controversy surrounding Chick-Fil-A in recent weeks after Dan Cathy, the company's COO, made a statement saying he was for traditional family values and traditional marriage and against gay rights and gay marriage. Since then, it has really sparked a lot of public interest and a lot of public debate. Last week we had Chick-fil-A Appreciation Day across the nation, where supporters of Chick-fil-A came out and ate at Chick-fil-A, followed by Same Sex Kissing Day, where opponents of Chick-fil-A came out and protested Chick-fil-A, and same-sex couples came to kiss in front of Chick-fil-A. Somewhere along the lines in the media coverage, which has been extensive, there's been a lot of articles online, the issue became known as a freedom of speech First Amendment right issue. And if you read through the comments, which there are thousands and thousands of comments I have been reading through for days, I was out there protesting, and when you talk to people and you read through the comments, the majority of people that have taken a stance on the issue don't actually understand what the issue really is, and they are under the assumption that it is a freedom of speech issue and that Dan Cathy has a right to say whatever he wants. That is the case. He can say whatever he wants, he can believe whatever he wants, and he can express those opinions however he wants, but he is using his beliefs to employ discriminatory business practices and fund hate groups, and that is where the issue really is. Nobody is trying to take away his right to believe what he wants and say what he wants, but he doesn't have a right to use those beliefs to discriminate in his workplace. And that's the fact of what is really going on. Since Chick-fil-A opened, it's been sued over a dozen times for discriminatory practices in hiring, for inability to provide a harassment-free workplace, for unlawful termination. It's had several problems with several minority groups, not just gay people. There was a Muslim man who was fired after refusing to pray at a company retreat. There was a mom who was fired because she was told that traditional family values say that she needs to be a stay-at-home mom. So it's been an ongoing issue, and it's been an issue with several minority groups, and it has been discriminatory, and that is Chick-fil-A stands for those discriminatory practices. Furthermore, Cathy has donated at least $5 million to fund gay hate groups, one of which is Family Research Council, which has donated over $25,000 in 2010 to lobby in the U.S. Congress in support of Uganda's Kill the Gays bill. He's donated to groups that believe and project that gay people should be exported from our country. He's donated to a group that's goal is to depict gay people as pedophiles. All of these things are not protected under the First Amendment. That's donating, that's contributing, that's financially supporting groups that promote violence and hate speech and symbolic hate speech while using discriminatory business practices in your company. And that is where the problem really is. And whether you're for or against gay marriage, whether you think it's a sin or it's not a sin, whether you think it's fine or it's not fine, I still don't know that Chick-fil-A would be a company that you would want to support or endorse. As you can see, they discriminate against several minority groups, and they promote violence. Their COO promotes violence, and in my opinion, that's really immoral. I don't know another way to put it. To promote violence against any group of people, I just think is wrong. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is just the gay marriage debate in general. I've been actively involved in pursuing marriage equality for about 5 years, and during those 5 years, I have yet to hear one valid legal reason for same-sex marriage not being legalized across the nation. And that's really frustrating for me as someone who enjoys a good debate, who enjoys to hear another person's point of view, who enjoys to hear another side. I often say I like to debate because I often hear facts and information I didn't know before, and it lets me learn and grow and progress. And I think as a nation, that's how we learn and grow and progress. But in this debate that I've been in for 5 years, I've yet to hear a single valid viewpoint from the other side. And that is super frustrating for me. I think that the biggest opponents of gay marriage is the Christian group as a whole. I realize it's not all Christians. I'm Christian and I'm for gay marriage, but the majority of the Christian group, I think, is probably the biggest opponents, and their reasoning behind opposing it is that God and the Bible say that homosexuality is a sin, and that if you're homosexual you're going to hell, and that yada 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 yada, and that's great. But that's not a reason for it not to be legal, because we have freedom of religion in America, and so we don't base laws off of one religion. And we don't base laws off of religion at all, as a matter of fact. We have separation of church and state. And so while that may be a valid reason for their personal beliefs, it's not a valid reason for our nation's legal system. And legalizing gay marriage doesn't mean that those people have to be gay, have to get a gay marriage, that their church has to change their beliefs or their doctrine, that their church has to marry gay people. It's none of those things. Marriage is a civil contract. It's a license from the state government of each state. It's not a license from the church. And so to deny civil rights and a state-recognized license on the basis of religion is un-American. Lately I've heard a lot of our country was founded on Christianity, and that's simply not the case. Our country was founded by a group of people who were trying to escape religious persecution, who believed so strongly in escaping religious persecution that they made freedom of religion our First Amendment right. They talked about in several different documents the wall of separation between church and state. And in the Treaty of Tripoli, they expressly state, in quotes, "As the United States of America is not in any sense founded on Christianity," ... So I don't know where that argument is coming from, but it's unfounded, and as is the entire biblical argument against gay marriage. Other things I've heard is gay people have domestic partnerships. Well, calling one thing a domestic partnership, even assuming it had the same rights, calling one thing a domestic partnership and another thing marriage is separate but equal, which our Constitution, our Supreme Court ruled as inherently unequal years ago. So that's not a valid argument. Then I've heard, if we let gay people marry each other, then we'll have to let people marry their dogs. Well, that's just ridiculous. Dogs don't have rights, nor can they understand or sign a legal binding contract. I mean, come on. I would love to hear some real legal reasons for opposing gay marriage. If you have any, maybe I have just missed them along the 5 years somehow. If you have any, please leave them in the comments below. I would love to read them. I'd love to hear your point of view. Matter of fact, I'd love to hear all of your point of views, whether you agree with me, disagree with me. I'd love to have a conversation about it. So go ahead and leave a comment. Thank you for listening. Hopefully you learned something you didn't know before, and you can look a little more into the situation and really formulate what your opinion is. Have a great day. Night.